right, welcome everyone. Let's start the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Babylon 5 Retrospective, The Coming of Shadows, Season 2. This week on the show, we're going to be looking at what episode is it? Episode 12, 11? All Alone in the Night, episode 11. So, should be good. It should be an interesting one. I think you might like this episode. Yeah. Let's get this set up properly here. There we go. All right, good. But before we do that, we have to welcome my co-host, the man who's always been here. It's Cam. Say hello, Cam.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Yeah. Just a couple before we bring on the rest of the panel and get going here. Let me just address in the chat there. Umbra said. Yeah, didn't realize they had multiple events scheduled. Saw event was starting 21 days. Was worried something happened. Yeah, I'm maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but I go through the things and I often schedule. I mean, if I know like this show is going to be every Wednesday for the next, forever. So I usually schedule, 4 weeks in advance or something, and I put them on there because I'm thinking that, people will get the notifications, right before the show starts, but also they can never come to the channel and look and say, oh, what live shows we got these live shows are coming up. They'll show up on the channel if you happen to be looking in there. But of course, it burns all the notifications right off the bat. So you probably got 4 or 5 notifications about shows that are 4 weeks away. So I don't know if I should do that. I don't know. I'll look at it, figure it out. Maybe do something different instead. Yeah, we'll have to see how we do it. Yeah. All right, but before we get going, let's say greetings to everybody in the chat. Welcome, gentlemen. Madman's in the chat. Who else? Umbra's, as of course I've just highlighted, is in the chat. Dave's here. Good to see you, Dave. Who else? Did I miss anybody? I think that's it. The rest of us is, all the regulars. Do you have anything, Cam, before we get started?
I'll just note that the subscriber direction should be going up, not down. So please do like and subscribe because we're dying. We're really dying.
Well, we lost one subscriber. We're down to 600.
It's a trend. It's a trend.
16 from 615. I mean, I don't think it's time to panic just yet. But I mean, I would rather we're not losing subscribers.
We're gaining friends.
Our fan base is becoming more selective.
Oh yes, that's true. We're more top.
Send up the negative waves, man. No negative waves.
Right.
That's fine. But if you like and subscribe and tell your friends and all your bot accounts to like and subscribe, yeah, we appreciate it. We want to push ourselves up there and get a little more notice because we think we got a good show. I think we got a good show. All right, so let's bring in our co-panelists for tonight. It's the usual group. It's Jason and, of course, Death Angel Shadow. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Can we talk finally?
Wow.
You can always talk.
Nope, we're going to trivia.
Yeah, all right. Welcome. Okay, so let's jump right to trivia, last week's trivia, and then get right into the show. I think we have a lot to talk about for this show, gentlemen. Is that correct? I mean, I think we do, right?
I think that's
You
safe
guys
to
have
say.
you guys keen to talk about this one? Maybe.
Yes, I think this is a surprisingly exciting episode.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's go to trivia. Let me go to the trivia there, and let's do that, and we'll get right to it. All right. So last week's trivia, season 2, episode 10, GoPros. What is the first name of Garibaldi's father?
Isn't it fettuccine
Let's
or
just,
something?
you know what? I'll just push up. Let's push in the answers. Of course, Garibaldi's
It's
father's
fettuccine.
name.
Rico Benny.
Sorry.
And
Lasagna.
what do Sheridan and the general have in common? They both like to drink orange juice. I don't know if that was obvious, but he likes orange juice. And what's his name? His son Franklin gives him the fruit punch thing, and he's like, "Oh, I don't like orange juice." It's like, try it. How many GoPros are on B5? I think we mentioned that 25,000 approximately. What is the name of the GoPros Garibaldi hooks up with? Her nickname, is Dodger.
Dodger, yeah.
Dodger, yeah. And the name of the rebel stronghold the GoPros are going to attack, it's Matok. Now, I'm hoping we're going to see, I don't know, but I'm hoping we're going to see more about that and the whole Matok and getting in the aliens. And, I'm hoping we're going to find out that it was worth it for the all of our buddies here to die, these cool guys that we met. All died, but let's hopefully maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to find out. All right. I'm hoping we're gonna see. Okay, let's bring everybody back and get back to the show.
What happened?
Cam was big.
Yeah, I'm still learning the stuff. I'll get it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, OBS didn't have this problem.
No.
Yeah. Cam, do you want to go with the quick summary?
Yes, I will be happy to.
We'll call it a quick cap.
Synopsis.
A quick recap.
The quick cap.
Excellent branding.
Cam with a quick cap.
TM.
Okay, and here we go with the quick cap. Episode 33 overall, season 2, episode 11, All Alone in the Night. Written by J. Michael Straczynski. Original air date February 15th, 1995, and it's episode 211 in production order, so right in line with its air date, our air order. Summary: during a Star Fury flight, Sheridan is kidnapped by an unknown alien race. Delenn is summoned by the Great Council to hear her fate, and I will go off script a little bit and say, and a visitor comes to Babylon 5.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me go into the if it's the quick cap, I guess this is the slow cap or the long cap, but I'll try to make it as quick and as not
concise
as short as possible.
Concise.
Yeah. All right. So the episode starts off with Delenn she's going to go see the council. She seems a little worried. She is but Lanier talks about he kind of sets it up and says, "Hey, but he's very loyal to her." He says, just because you've changed, your soul is the same. So they shouldn't want to get rid of you. And she's like, "Oh, it's different. You're going to learn, my son," so to speak. As well, in the opening crawl there, Sheridan, they find out that some ships have been disappearing in this sector, in a certain sector, and he decides him and Nevada are talking. Shall we send out a patrol? We can't send these guys out. We can only send these guys out, and they're the head of their patrol is I can't remember, he was sick or something. And Sheridan's like, "Hey, I'll take it up. I'll take him out. I haven't taken anything out in a while." And she's like, "Okay, only if you bring an escort with you. Can't risk the captain." So he's like, "Yeah, no problem." And of course, we then cut and see a Narn ship, which has been destroyed by and captured. The pilot is captured by some strange-looking weird ship we haven't seen before. Yeah. And then that's the start off of the episode. So we have sort of two main things going on in the episode. We have Delenn, and I'm going to go through each of them. So one of them is Delenn. She leaves Babylon 5. She goes to meet the Great Council on their ship. She basically gets kicked off the council. kind of rudely, and a warrior caste person replaces her.
Yeah, we'll go
now it
into
should be the apparently it should be the religious caste. There's been 3 from each caste: 3 worker, 3 warrior, 3 religious. But this gives the workers 4, so something to be
No,
about
the
that.
Warriors. Anyway,
Sure.
we'll talk about it.
But she keeps her ambassadorship, but not because she's so great an ambassador. Basically, they just say, "Yeah, we don't care too much. Stay with those, dirty humans. You deserve each other," type of thing. It's not much of a reward. Yeah, she can stay there because we don't. They seem very dismissive about that. So that's kind of her whole.
You belong with those.
Arc for the episode in a nutshell. And then the bigger one here is, of course, Sheridan. He's out there, and some strange ship attacks him. 2 of the I guess there's 4 of them. He gets his ship gets shot up. He's taken captured. 2 other ships are destroyed, and then 1 ship with lieutenant this lieutenant on it. What's his name? Reefer. I can't remember his name offhand. Just now, I didn't write it down.
Ramirez.
He gets injured. His ship gets damaged, and he tries to head back towards Babylon 5 to tell them what happened. Meanwhile, General Haig arrives. He's on some sort of secret mission. Ivanova didn't know about it. She's surprised. And
Just a visit. Friendly, personal visit.
Friendly secret visit. And Sheridan is, of course, missing. They don't know he's missing yet. He goes, Ivanova is telling him, yeah, he should be back soon. No problem. Meanwhile, we cut over to Sheridan. He's on an operating table. He's being either tortured or experimented on. We later find out it appears to be tortured. Meanwhile, he's there. They throw a pipe in there. It looks like a lead pipe. Sheridan in the lab with a lead pipe. And some alien shows up, and he's got some sort of thing on his head, which is, might be controlling him. He attacks Sheridan. Sheridan attacks him back, and he seems to sort of disappear. We're not sure. I'm not sure if this is happens in real life or just a memory thing. Meanwhile, Narn then comes out with a big sword and attacks him, and they fight again too. While they're locked in there, the Narn basically asks him to kill him, and he doesn't, but he beats him down and sort of knocks him out, hurts him. Yeah. And later when the Narn comes to, he talks to him. He finds out these aliens are, quote, scouting, and they scout by kidnapping people, various races, and then either experimenting on them, torturing them, fighting them against each other to find out what's going on, that kind of thing. Meanwhile, at Babylon 5, the general brings the Agamemnon in to help find Sheridan. By this time, they realize that he's missing. The lieutenant has come back. He's seriously injured, but he tells them what happened. He's taken a lot of radiation, and he unfortunately doesn't make it and dies on while Dr. Franklin's trying to save him. We then see Sheridan having some sort of dream or vision while he's sitting on the floor with his new Narn friend. We can talk about that vision in the.
Yeah, we'll go into details later.
That's pretty. Seems pretty important. Meanwhile, back on Babylon 5, we find out Delin is returning, and she's questions the Ivanova in CNC and says, "Hey, how come we didn't get? What's going on? How come you're so slow? Let me dock and all that stuff." And she says, "Well, the captain's missing, and he went to this sector, and he's been captured by some weird alien ship." And Dylan goes, "Hey, we know all about that stuff. They're called the Stribs, and they were capturing our people. Then we had to go to their homeworld, and we had to, make them realize what they're doing was wrong," unquote. And of course, Ivanova says, "Hey, do you got the coordinates of that homeworld?" And they're like, "Sure, no problem." So next thing we see is the Agamemnon with the Lin is attacking the homeworld. They see the ship that Sheridan's on. They're shooting down some fighters, trying not to shoot the ship. Meanwhile, Sheridan is trying to escape. He takes his Narn friend. They find a escape pod. And they jump in the escape pod. Meanwhile, the ship is spacing all the people that all the captives that they have, just throwing them out the airlock. And Ivanova gets mad about that and says, "Hey, blast the ship!" They blast the ship. It gets destroyed. But Sheridan survives. He almost gets shot, but they're like, "Wait, we think that's him," and they rescue him. And then the last part of the show is, I think, the general. I won't go too much detail with this because I think we're going to want to talk about this. The Sheridan and the general talk. They set up a thingy so that no one can hear them, and they talk about some stuff. We'll go into that, and then after that, we see Sheridan again talking to the main characters on Babylon 5 and talking to them about what he talked about with the general. That's Franklin, Garibaldi, and Ivanova, and we'll get into that in the show. And that's basically a quick rundown of the episode. Cam, where should we go first?
Well, let's talk about them. Just outline the storylines and see if everyone agrees. We've got the what I think is, well, it's really an A and A2 plot, I guess. But you've got Sheridan's patrol and what happens with him being captured by the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got Delenn and her activities with the Grey Council.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have kind of weaving through this all is the Haig, General Haig's visit. And the things do cross over, but what do you guys think about that in terms of just, was there anything else?
I think the third one is setting up for future stuff.
Well, sure. Yeah, it's actually a huge reveal, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess the Menomenon ship was maybe helpful, bringing some firepower to rescue.
Sure.
Well, and I like the fact that the three different plots were, kind of separate from each other, they integrated well, and we had good flow between one to the other, and they all kind of gelled together at the end. Not so much with General Haig, but I mean, he kind of did, but
yeah, because he brought in the Agamemnon, which
the Agamemnon. So you had this, you had sort of a funnel effect.
Yeah,
where all three of them started in different places and gradually started easing together. So at the end, you had all of these were three threads of one story, and I think that was better crafted than some of the other episodes where they've got two stories that are so diametrically opposed to each other they shouldn't even be in the same show.
Yeah. Well, and there was a lot. I mean, there was a lot of jump cutting from one storyline to the next, but I think it was done well because it gave you the feeling like all these things are happening at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. While it did feel like it. Incidentally, I'm hearing some echo. Are you guys hearing echo?
I am not.
I am not.
Okay.
I'm not hearing echo.
It's just you, Cam.
Okay. While it did jump, scenes were noticeable. I think, like what Jason said, that they did funnel into one thing at the end. So I kind of like that. Even like you said, Haig, was kind of coming here for an unrelated purpose. He immediately came into the whole thing about Sheridan's missing, and all that.
This is not. Yeah, this is not like him. He's never late. So something's wrong.
Yeah. And I did like that too, that they kind of threw, I'm getting a little in the weeds here, but that it indicated that he was aware of, the way Sheridan works, which comes into, at the end when they finally do meet. What do you guys think? You want to talk about the Delenn storyline first? Kind of.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty important aspect of her future, as we'll see.
Well, Jeff, you want to kind of summarize that in a little more detail?
Yeah. So basically, you see a couple of interesting things. For one, she's been called to the Grey Council, and she's feeling kind of lonely. And the actress portrays this concern. Obviously, she's more human now than she was before she changed.
Her name is Mira Furlan.
Okay. And
I mean, she's only part of the regular cast. You should probably
Yeah. You think I memorize everybody's names? I can't. I used to
you
wear
have
name
you
tags so I
haven't
could
watched
remember.
my panel that I did with her back in 20. I don't know
Jeff
when.
doesn't even remember your name, Jason.
Yeah,
That's
who
right.
are
You're on this.
you again?
I don't
Why am I
remember.
here? Who am I? Why am I
There
here?
you go.
Any rate, one of the things that she says, for the first time in my life, I feel alone.
Mhm.
And Lanier says, you're never alone. And not only volunteers to go with her, he just kind of does it and says, yeah, I got your flyer ready and mine too. And she's like, but Lanier, you don't have a flyer. He's like, I borrowed one and I'm
Yeah.
going with you, and you pretty much don't have a choice. I'm going to stand by your side, and that gets reiterated later on. Um,
Yeah,
you know,
they do a little work to establish the connection between those two, which we've already seen, but it's building, right?
yeah, and now he's, I think she hasn't told Lanier enough. Because they actually say that that's what they're going to. Lanier retorts, well, no, you haven't, Delin, but we can discuss that on our long journey. So,
Right.
you know,
And well, Jeff, you brought up a good point that Delenn she's kind of two things because you were seeing her own doubts about this because she really doesn't know exactly what's going on with this whole thing with her her transformation.
Mhm.
But she's on the other hand defending it against others. It's like
she
she's
knows it's
sure
the
she's
right
doing
thing to do, but
exactly.
not
Yeah,
why.
exactly.
Not
Exactly.
why. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah. So okay. So they kick her out right
Yeah,
off the bat. It's like
basically, he says, of course, I think when she's going into the Great Council, Lanier, you have to stay here. Only members of the Great Council and select acolytes are allowed in here, right?
right.
And, he says, yes, to tie. And then she goes in and she does the whole mantra, which we've seen a couple of times before with the Great Council, where we're the candle and this and that, and
And their answer, nah.
yeah, they will not come, I think is what he said.
Yeah.
And she's kind of almost, you could see the look in her face like, okay, you know the serious, that they've definitely done this, they've made this decision. And he says, you are no longer a member. She basically, yeah, they stripped her of her being part of the Great Council.
Yeah, well, there's an interesting thing that happens there too. Is she immediately turns to what about me as on Babylon 5? It's like where because she
Right.
realizes that's really her.
That's
That's her
her.
mission.
That's her destiny, or her. That's where her future lies. So she needs to be there, and that's
Right.
the most important. And the irony, is that the person, and Cuticast has already kind of mentioned it. It's Neroon, who we did see before. He's an obnoxious blowhard from the Warrior cast, and and of course she's from the religious cast, and somebody from the Warrior cast has been chosen to replace her, which is kind of a slap in the face.
Well,
And
it's more than that. Delenn points that out, right? That
yeah,
this is going against their whole system that Valen established.
3, 3, and 3, right?
Right. Yeah.
The whole, and it's just like the triangle and everything that everything is supposed to be proportional, and this is definitely throwing that off kilter. And Naroon even is so bold as to say, once I became a member of the Great Council, I was informed why we stopped the war, and
He's not happy about it.
oh no, and if we had known the reason, I didn't. He said it's something to the effect of, I didn't know whether to laugh or what is it, laugh or not cry, but or be angry, something like that.
I think he did say. I think he did say cry.
Did he? Yeah. At any rate, the point was he didn't. He was like, either way, if we had known, we would not have surrendered. We would have
Which
obliterated the humans.
which
Basically.
think about what he's saying there, because the other people on that council were part of that decision,
Yes, they
and
were.
and so he's feeling powerful enough where he could be saying, "Yeah, everything you guys did was wrong." So he clearly has some sort of influence,
Well,
or
and clearly with a group of 9, it would take them. A majority is going to be at least a 5-4 split, right? You could presume that the 3 members of the warrior cast probably voted to continue, or into this is nonsense, and the workers and the other and the religious cast were so it's a 6-3. Well, this tips that balance, where you've got 4 of them. Those 4 could potentially have influenced the worker cast. And that's not saying it was a 6-3. It could have been a 5-4 before, but now it would be
well, yeah, but
4-5. Yeah.
Delenn notes, he's like, yeah, you people were my friends, and so it's kind of
And
telling
you
us,
know
the
me.
audience. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's telling, and they were part of the decision, whether they agreed with it or not, right? And they
Right.
agreed to keep it secret, and not so. This is a very strong signal that the sentiment in the leadership of the Minbari has greatly
Is
shifted.
Yeah. It obviously, because just the fact that they were willing to select somebody and upset that balanced
Right. So
triumvirate.
and Delenn is the cause of it. She didn't intend it, but her transformation has really shook them up to the point where they are willing to violate their fundamental structure.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Which
I
has
wanted
been
to mention.
persisted for what, 1,000 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, this is one of those things where they're not upset that it happened so much as they're upset that she's basically taken it upon herself to accelerate the timeline.
Mhm.
And she's like, okay, and yet you're sitting there presuming that you're the one that's going to fulfill this prophecy thing or whatever it is, and taking matters into your own hands. And how dare you? And that's what gets her kicked off the Grey Council, is that she's acting unilaterally to bring about this change that everybody is saying, and she's doing it because she sees what's coming.
Yeah. And I think they're misguided. I mean, I think she is on clearly understands and sees the signs, and particularly, with all of the things. Obviously, as the audience, we know that we've seen from the Jakar's Book of Jaquan. I can remember that. I don't know, but the Book of Jaquan. We've seen these shadow ships and likenesses of the shadow creatures. So we know that is, and presumably I'm guessing that Jakar may have talked to Dylan about it at some point, or they were briefed at some point. So at least when Jakar was making his appeal in a previous episode, for why, but
Yeah. Snob, do you have something we were going to say?
Yeah, this thing is all very like, it even starts out very disrespectful. I mean, they don't even have the balls to like kick her out properly. They've already kicked her out before she even gets there. She's coming in there. She's doing the usual. Hey, I'm part of the council. Let me meet the council. Do my little greeting thing that we always say. They're not even don't even have the. They don't even show up there to do that with her, and then say, okay, well, now you're not. We're going to kick you out of the council. Now they've already kicked her out. They haven't even told her yet. They make her show up. And
yeah.
haven't even told her that, by the way, we've kicked you out. And then they
Now,
tell her.
now the one that did tell her.
That's extra. I'm just saying that's extra disrespectful. Like,
Oh
they're
yeah. I
piling
think,
it on, top and bottom.
but the one that did speak with her, I think, isn't that the one that she had talked to on Babylon 5?
Yes, he was the one that
Uh,
pretended to be from the Ministry of Culture or whatever.
Yeah. So, he was the one who warned her about, making the decision to do the change, and we don't know enough, I guess, at this point, on how, if this is something that is normally that they can do, or if this is something that's brought about through their, religio technology or how it happens, you know. Um, so, but at
So
any rate,
well, so then a part that I find particularly interesting is when so she's getting ready to leave, and and well, you know what? Sorry, Jason, you haven't really said too much about. Is there any other comments you want to talk about so far?
Well, I think as far as this one goes, I guess my one question here for the Gray Council is which one of them is the Ketanji Brown John Jackson? Which one? Because you've got the warmonger. Naroon
sure.
comes in there and he's everybody's going to have a personality, and I don't know that we'll see all of the nine, each of the nine,
Yeah.
but there has to be at some point in a lot of these kinds of stories you have your protagonist, your hero, in this case is Delenn, and you have all of this core group. The council is against them, but there's one off to the side that secretly sympathizes with the hero and eventually is going to come out on her side. So I'm wondering which one of these, if we go down that road, which one of these is going to side with her and say, you know what, actually you're kind of right, and I think we're going to help you, but don't tell anybody.
I mean, I'm inclined to believe it's the one that had warned her about that, but I maybe not. Maybe it's somebody in the
Is
worker
he
cast.
still on the council though?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
He's one
Yeah.
of the nine.
It probably is.
Yeah, but
So when she comes out, and then she basically tells Naroon, they're going back to Babylon 5, and he says like, oh, the council is wise or something, right?
no, that wasn't Nurun that said that. That was,
No. I'm sorry,
yeah,
Lanier.
Lanier.
Lanier. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Her response is kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
She
I don't
She
remember. Did
lies to
he?
him.
it
Yeah,
was
she kind of lets it float out there.
Yeah, everything's fine.
yeah, yes, they are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
everything
she
was
doesn't.
positive. Yeah, yeah.
She seems to have lost her faith in the Grey Council.
Well, I think she's experiencing. She's back to the self doubting a little bit too. It's like, am I doing the right thing? I mean, she believes she is, but she can't. Like you said, she doesn't know why yet. Um, and so did she let him believe that she's still on the council? I'm trying to remember.
No,
Well,
no,
she
no.
did tell
He
him.
said it's just Delin now.
Yeah, he called her
Okay.
Satai, and she
And
corrected him on that. But they didn't talk about her position on the council.
It was just
Yeah,
that she's going back to Babylon 5.
yeah.
But
She's the
she says that
ambassador.
they're.
Well,
She says that they were. She lies to him and says, yes, they were very positive about me, being ambassador still, which they weren't at all. I mean,
Does
once
she lie? Does she
told her,
lie
I
to
don't give
him,
a
or
crap about.
does she lie to him, or does
Yeah, she lies to
oh,
them. They were positive about me being, being ambassador, and they were not. Of course, he said, "I don't care what you do.
well,
Stay with those dirty humans."
they kind of were. I mean, Naruin's like,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Go back there. I mean, so
You
he
you
was.
you belong there. It's kind of like almost like how Londo was sent to Babylon 5 to out of sight, get you out of the way because you're a
Mhm.
troublemaker.
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling. Okay, that's Babylon 5 is now where we want to send people that are, we're discarding you.
Well, there is one other thing is that, and I think you're right, but she tried to get Lanier to basically, just go back home and separate
Right.
himself from her because so she was implying there's a problem, so it was a little bit confusing to me exactly what that was. But then,
Well, she knows what's coming, and she wants to spare him the
yeah,
trouble.
right,
Yeah,
absolutely,
she was trying to do that to begin with at the very
right.
beginning, and now he's like, "Nope, I've sworn I will be by your side," because she does go far as saying that she's going to be going through fire and darkness,
Yeah,
and he's like, "Well, I will be right by your side," and then she actually said, "I could never have asked for a better companion," you know.
yeah,
So I think she's definitely grateful for him, and I think he gives her some comfort on that regard. So
yeah,
he's sworn to her side,
Right.
Now,
So
I have a
Braver
question.
companion is what he said.
Is there? I have a question. Is there anybody more racist than the Minbari? I mean,
they're all
basically, I mean,
racist. What are you talking about?
she's only become half. She's become half human genetically, and her whole upbringing is still Minbari. But they're like, we don't know anything about you. I mean, all of her attitudes and everything are still what she grew up with. But they're like, yeah, we don't know you anymore. Get out. Um,
Yeah, well, this is a different time, right?
Yeah.
When this sort of thing in a story was, well, I mean, literally, they talk about genocide all the time. This is the most racially, I'm not going to say racist because the show isn't forwarding racism, well, not promoting racism, I guess, but all these alien races are extremely racially motivated.
See, and this is the point that I
Speciest.
have made around Strange New Worlds. This episode that they just had where they used this retrovirus thing to turn Pike and Chapel and Uhura into Vulcans. And their entire personalities change, their entire behavior changed. Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't work that way. And for this very same reason, like Delen's saying, is I'm still the same person inside. You know, cosmetically, yeah, I look different. Genetically, I might be a little bit different, but I'm still me. I still have all of my memories, all of my experiences,
Yeah.
all of my perceptions and thoughts and likes and desires, and it's still me. My soul is still the same. And I look at this thing over here, what they're trying to do with Star Trek, and I was like, that doesn't work. You're
Well,
trying to take these shortcuts, and it just, even her transformation took how long? She's shuffled away in this cocoon for what, days, weeks?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it brings up an interesting subject question because again, the council believed the whole thing. Why they ended it, at least the majority at the time, was because they did believe about this idea of their souls being born into humans, and so now it's like now they're rejecting that idea because like Naroon is, oh yeah, no, we would just slaughter them without regard to that. So it's like clearly, well, either he's a crazy person or he doesn't believe it, right? So there's this whole split. But the reason I'm mentioning this is because this is a fundamental question with the Minbari is their status as a race does define their belonging, I guess. And there's they either believe it or they don't, and there is that divide. So I guess that we're seeing that coming out. It's like, well, you're part of this other thing now, and if it's an other, then
You're not one of us.
yeah, I mean, beyond, because again, they have this very philosophical pseudo. Well, it's religious to them, I suppose. Where they're
Well, I guess it's kind of like that couple that didn't want their kid being treated by the doctor because it would affect his soul, the existence, his soul would be gone. And so Delenn goes through this transformation, and maybe there's a faction that sits there and says, well, now your soul is gone. It's not you.
Well, that's the thing that's really strange of these, because they've already acknowledged that there's a connection between Minbari and human souls, right?
Mhm.
Right.
And so
They're going back on their word.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is it's an utter rejection of that perspective. It has to be, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't have Naroon's mindset, unless they just
and we don't know how many of them do.
Right.
Yeah. Now, are they rejecting it because they know what's coming and they don't want to acknowledge it, or is it just because they're holding on to their power and she represents a threat to that?
Well, of course, the only people that know this are the the insiders. The general population doesn't. So Naroon didn't know that before. So I think that it is a rejection, like you said. Naroon is like, no, I don't buy that, kind of thing.
Yeah, and Naroon is a brash and brazen.
Yeah, he's a warrior caste,
Yeah,
and a particularly aggressive branch of them as well.
Yeah, yeah. Was he on that one group that was No.
He was in the episode where they came with the dead leader to
Yeah.
Babylon 5, and so he's
And then she wound up having him cremated, and
right.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's got a
Oh,
you
he's
know,
got a bone to
against it.
pick with her, anyways,
Yeah,
or an ash pile of ashes to pick, I guess, as the case may be.
yeah.
His
Okay,
nursing grudge.
so we will pick up with Delenn later on, but do we want to go to? Do you want to talk about Sheridan's general storyline, the overall one with the aliens?
Yeah, who wants to do that? Jason?
Well, okay. So Sheridan, we've got this situation where ships are disappearing there, and they determine that it's not raiders,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not the same thing as what other people are describing, because there's a bright light, and then there, all of these different things, that they're experiencing and they're describing, that's not consistent with what we've experienced before with the shadow ships.
Yeah.
So there's this new thing, and we got to go check it out. And Sheridan decides to take it upon himself, since one of the squadron leaders is out sick. Well, I'll go do it because I got to get my flight time anyway. So kill two birds with one stone. So he takes some ships, and they go out to investigate. And there's this starship that attacks them, and I'm curious as to how they time this, because what's the trigger event that these raiders know that there are ships to be attacked and where they are? That's the one inconsistency. Is the one niggling thing in this story, is how do they know that Sheridan and his ships are there in order to attack them?
Yeah, they're waiting in hyperspace, I guess. I don't understand exactly how the technology works, but they, what your point is, they pop out of hyperspace right where they're at.
Yeah.
And so they have to have some means of detecting them in real space, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And it would be nice to have that point addressed in the story somehow. Otherwise, it's just this little empty space that you're like, oh, I didn't get an explanation for. And it's not super critical to the overall story, but it would be nice to have that explanation, just to
Yeah, it would be.
yeah.
It's a little loose thread that you don't like.
Yeah.
You want to pick at, man.
Yeah. And so Sheridan gets captured. Excuse me.
Of course. We knew that was going to happen, right?
Well, sure, because
he's only going to be gone for an hour.
Because he said those famous
What could go
words.
wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? So
right there, that
we
tells
find
you
out.
something's going to go wrong.
Well,
Foreshadowing.
and not only does he get captured, but was it Ramirez?
Ramirez got irradiated.
Name?
Yeah, got radiation poison.
His ship is damaged to the point where he's got overwhelmingly fatal radiation exposure. But he's like, okay, well, I got to get back to the station and let people know what's going on.
Well, did the other two get just blown out of the sky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was the only one that survived, makes it back to the station. And this is where I get irritated, because we've introduced a guy and humanized him with the gambling on the game, and gotten some investment in him only because we're going to kill him off.
Yeah, that was the point, I'm sure.
It's the one episode. Now, if he'd been around for 2 or 3 different episodes, just background, a couple of scenes, just something where he shows up, whatever, and gone, you have a little bit more history with this guy, and you've established that he's there.
Mm-hmm.
But now with this, and Babylon 5 is not the only show that's done this. You introduce this guest character only to kill him off, because you can't kill off a main member of the cast.
Well, I mean, had George R.R. Martin been writing back then,
everybody
and Straczynski, Straczynski would have killed off all the crew 6 times over.
Well, and I think the fact that you've got this, I mean, you could have done what's his name, the fighter pilot that they introduced, and maybe not necessarily killed him, but severely
Narrow
injured
save
him,
or
because if
something.
he's going to factor into stories later on, and he's part of the main cast, he's a regular,
Right.
then okay, maybe don't kill him off, but cripple him or say something for later. But instead, we get this guy. We introduce him. He's betting on the game between Mars and Earth, I guess baseball, and and now we know he's going to die
Yeah.
because of the way he's called away to this mission. And then when Sheridan does wake up, he gets tortured,
does.
which we don't see very much. And then,
Broadcast television. Maybe.
well, yeah, broadcast. So, but what I don't get is how they tortured him and his cocoon wrap and everything else. It doesn't look like they injured him.
Well, he had blood on his forehead.
Device that comes down here and all of these different things, and it implies they're going to do all of these horrendous, terrible things to him. And we come back, and he's got this line of blood here and a line of blood here, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the only injury that he's got. He's like, "Why are you torturing me?" I was like,
"But he's sweating.
You cut yourself shaving. No, but what is this? This is not torture. What's being done here?"
Yeah, that was a little. It was a little strange.
That was a little lame.
Could have been to provoke fear response. At that point.
Maybe.
Well, that's true. He did get attacked immediately after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he gets attacked by the drowsy.
Disappointed with the lack of torture in his network television.
I know.
No. I'm disappointed with the idea of torture that's not actually torture. They say he's tortured, but we didn't see
that was fade to black stuff.
I mean, you're right.
Yeah,
he's got
but we don't see any aftermath.
Blood on his cheeks, right? Like
we don't see any. Yeah, we don't see any evidence at all that he's been tortured. When we come back, he's like, "Why are you doing this to me? It doesn't look like anybody's done anything to you."
Now the thing that
it's a quick healer there.
While you're on it, the thing that kind of I found odd is the first alien that attacked him, which I'm not aware of what race they are. I don't know if we've seen them before.
Wasn't it Drazi?
Maybe. No, I don't think so. He was blue.
It looked like a scaly lizard. I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah, it was blue in color. But both that and then he disappeared. So I don't know if they have transporters or something like that, or they just destroyed the body or what instantly. But that first alien and then the Narn both had the little device on their heads. Why did he not?
Maybe he hadn't gotten that far into the process yet.
Well, clearly they were trying to but
the Narn was picked up before him for sure.
Well,
right.
if you go by that, then from a process of that, if they were torturing him, but they didn't really look like they tortured him, and you're looking at the fear response, you're looking at a conditioning. Yeah. Maybe they have to get him to a certain point mentally, physically, because they're not feeding him, they're not giving him water, they're not doing anything for sustenance.
Yeah.
Get them down to a certain point where they're weak enough.
Get their constitution low enough that
down, break their will, and then put this thing on them. Maybe that's what it takes.
Yeah,
it's not clear in the show either, but it really, technically, it's not hugely necessary.
Taylor Swift or Nickelback? I'm not sure which is worse.
It was a Drazi, by the way.
By the way, did you guys see the announcement today from American Eagle?
Oh, no. What are they doing?
They're doing a new line. You know who the guy? You know who their face of the new line is?
No.
Travis Kelce.
Who's that?
The guy
that's right. Who's that? No.
Yeah. The guy who's getting married to Taylor Swift.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I give it 2 years.
No.
So,
super any rate, I digress.
It as Q2 cast, it was a Drazi that had attacked him, and then
I didn't recognize him as a Drazi.
Yeah, the lighting might have been weird or something.
Yeah, it was hard for me to tell too.
But
he had like bluish white blood. When he was impaled, because
shouldn't it be purple or green?
I mean, again, the lighting. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
So go ahead. Go ahead.
But I
So
was going to say,
Sheridan.
he disappeared, and then of course Sheridan, manages to knock out the Narn, whose name we don't know yet.
Right.
Right.
Madman. um, but
Well, and what's funny is in the opening credits, in the guest credit roll, he's just called Narn.
right,
He's not even.
that makes sense.
He's a significant guest star, and they didn't give him his name.
It's just more racism.
All right.
So they get together, agree basically. Sheridan removes the thing from his head, and they go and they're going to try it. Sheridan's trying to get him to go after them, but he's badly injured. Sheridan broke a rib or something and
Punctured
punctured a
his lung,
lung.
possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but the guy is basically cooperating with him, and he gives him some information about, we were, what they're doing there, which is, wait, did you say this already? That they're scouting. And I'm not sure. Maybe did he know about that? Maybe was that part of his mission? Why he was flying around out there or something? I don't know.
Who, the Narn?
Yeah.
Well, they probably were investigating ships, that had gone missing themselves. Very, very possibly.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so then should we jump back to because the things kind of start to merge at this point. On the station, we see General Haig has arrived, and we were told earlier by Sheridan that this is kind of an unofficial visit because Ivana was
personal visit. Yeah.
Right. Ivana was like, "Hey, there's protocol we got to be following here," and so on and so forth. He's like, it's kind of on the down low. So he does show up at the station and is immediately like, "Where's Sheridan?" And him not being there is unusual to him. And Ivanova kind of blows it off a little bit. She's probably trying to give cover to Sheridan a little bit.
To her boss.
But she's like, "Oh, he'll be back, soon." And then they get the word from Ramirez, who's come back, telling them, that, well, obviously they know something's happened to the rest of them.
Right.
And so then things start happening there. Haig kind of goes off screen like, he's got a purpose. And then we see what's going on with, Ramirez doesn't actually tell him, right? He dies before he's able to.
Yeah, but they get everything off of his ship's flight report.
Yeah.
We don't know what he says.
His last words, as far as I could tell, was something.
It had something to do with his bet.
He's basically, I guess I won't be able to pay you that 30 That's about how he didn't get the word credits out.
I took from that he had passed all the information that he wanted to pass on, and perhaps it was in the scene we didn't see beforehand where he tells them.
No, Ivanova says right there in that same scene that they got the records off of his ship.
Yeah. So I'm assuming a combination of that, plus he might have told them a bunch of stuff beforehand, but we just didn't see it. So
right,
they know everything they need to know.
Yeah.
So we
just a kid.
Now, Haig says that they bring the Agamemnon into this. Now, this is a bit of an interesting. Well, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit later, but this is harkening back to the way Earth works, and so then also quickly at this time, Glenn comes back into the picture, right? And there's there's an issue that she with the traffic that she noticed, and she questions what's going on, and they kind of spill the beans to her. It's like, the captain's been captured and da 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 da, and she asks for information on it, and it just so happens that she's familiar with this race, with these aliens, and that in the past they had tried the same kind of thing with the Minbari. They were basically sniffing around the Minbari, looking for an invasion or whatever they're doing,
checking for weaknesses and
right. And the Minbari sent them packing pretty hard, and so she hands over that information as to where they came from.
I think she said we drugged them back to their home world, and said never to try this again to the
Right.
Minbari.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe a little kinder than they were going to be to Earth, but I guess the incident was a little less, maddening. Um,
Well, the other thing too is you have to wonder if they're communicating all of this about Sheridan's capture on an open frequency.
yeah, that's true.
You're just going to broadcast that out in the clear. What kind of drama does that cause? Everybody that hears it goes,
Panic.
"Wait, what?"
Panic.
Well, remember, Ivanova says that we're seeking help from everyody to her.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
They were.
She says, so it implies that they have told. I mean, I don't know how much they've told, but they've let it be known that there's somebody that's kidnapping people or capturing them.
I think it may have been. Yeah, they probably weren't specific to everybody, but purple and green. Yeah.
Yeah, she says we're letting everyone know that she doesn't say specifically that we've told everyone that Sheridan's been captured, but that someone's been captured and we're seeking any help that anybody can do. So that's kind of, it seems to be somewhat open anyway.
So they leap into action right away once they get this information. Then we do go back to and see Sheridan and the Narn trying to affect their escape. In which they're basically busting out of the chamber they were in.
Right.
And then, the Agamemnon comes in, guns.
Man, that sword did a wonderful job on that, didn't it?
Yeah.
So
right.
I'm like,
sword, crowbar, same thing, right?
Yeah, I'm watching that piece where he's doing that, and I'm thinking, okay, first of all, what was the door doing open to begin with? Because they're not giving them food. They don't have any reason to open the door except maybe to throw somebody else in there. Why would it be cracked open just enough that he could sit there and go, "Oh, hey, here's the way out. Let's pry this door open with the sword." And yeah, the sword as a pry bar doesn't work for me.
I mean, the phrase was I think it was a throwback historical.
There's Archimedes. He didn't get the quote right, but it's Archimedes.
Right. Yeah, he was paraphrasing. Give me a long enough lever. Yeah.
So they're in the process of their own escape, and the Earth Force comes in hard,
blasting.
Right. Yeah. And this is where you were talking about when they were spacing the prisoners.
Well, after they were attacked, they said to give up release your prisoners. They released them.
They did, I guess.
They complied. They spaced them.
And we do see the alien. He's like a kind of it looked like a 1960s scary alien guy in a robe, kind of thing.
Very, very throwback. Maybe was that one of the things used in like the original Star Trek series, or
like a keeper?
It was reminiscent of it.
Something like that.
He kind of looked like a really tall, full-figured Asgard from Star Trek.
Well, yeah. Well,
he's a gray
because the Asgards are much smaller, more frail.
So this is the part that I wanted to mention with Earth Force, and because in the background, remember with the what was it? Remember Death. I forget the race, but when Earth came to the aid of the non-aligned worlds, and very arrogantly, it was like they did not hesitate to use military action, right, against some alien race that they don't know a whole lot about.
Oh, with the Gropos, with the last episode?
No, way back in history, before Babylon. Yeah, that's where Earth kind of jumped up into being a big player, and so this was very much in line with that. It's like we're sending our big ships out there and we're gonna beat them down. They've got our guy and we're not going to hesitate on this. So I kind of liked seeing that little reflection of the way Earth generally handles things.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. They handle them pretty. It shows you the power of
that class of ship,
right? Of Earth Force battleship, Anyway.
Yes. The closed caption, by the way, spells it Stribes.
Mm.
I think that's how they pronounce it too. But I know who Whitley Strieber is.
Yeah.
We've actually reviewed 3 of his books, all of
Have you?
his Alien Hunter books. Yeah, Mindy did reviews on those. I got one in 2000. They're all in 2020.
Are they really?
Okay, you want to hear an interesting connection? Is the movie of Communion that had Christopher Walken in it had Andre Katsoulis was a co-star in that movie.
No, okay. Now, okay. Hold on, because when was it? Was it last Sunday? Yeah. No. When was it? Has Mindy been home a week and a half? So James and I went and saw the 30th anniversary of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Right?
Okay.
And I'm looking at this, and the guy who plays Casey Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at him thinking, where do I know this guy from? Because I remember that I'd seen him in something else. And I was like, where do I know this guy? 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 And it kept bugging me. And I'm thinking, let's see, hang on. Is this? Hold on. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I was looking something up.
Okay. So where were we, Cam?
Well, so Sheridan basically gets and the Narn get to an escape pod, which I'm not sure how they know anything about but they do. And
Wait, did Sheridan say something about food? There may be rations in there or something like that, or something. Sounded like he said something like that real quick when they went in there. And of course, as soon as they get in there, boom, closes and automatically launches. Now maybe that's where the alien was headed to.
Maybe, yeah, and we only saw the one, right?
Yeah, that he knocked out, and basically they stole his escape pod.
Yeah,
but
well.
But never mind. It was Elias Codius. I had the wrong thing. Never mind.
Okay. So they pick they're able to say, oh, hey, wait, that's Sheridan sends a message. What did he send? It was
he's sending SOS.
SOS. Okay, so they
3 dots, 3 dashes, 3 dots.
Yeah,
It's like in that episode of Battlestar Galactica when Starbuck and Apollo were in a stolen Cylon Raider. And they had a signaler device so the Galactica would know it was them, and they didn't blow them up, and it got broken. And so they're on their way back. It's like, well, how do we figure out? And they're getting ready to shoot down the Cylon Raider, and Boomer is like, no, wait, they're waggling.
Well, which they had established earlier in the episode. They kind of had a joke. It's like, oh, we'll waggle our wings or whatever.
Yeah. That is kind of a thing, though, that if you're because one of the things that Sheridan told Denarn was, our first duty as prisoners is to escape, which is true. I mean, that is true of anybody that's captured. Try to escape. And if you can escape by taking a craft, you take there and you waggle your wings. Oh, hi.
Yeah. So, and
hi,
also,
Todd.
Delenn is also present in this battle. She shows up for this. She takes.
And that's just like isn't that kind of just a passenger ship? A single occupant passenger ship.
Right. It's like a taxi.
Personal
vehicle. Yeah.
But she threatens them. Also. Basically, she's like,
You remember the Minbari?
Right.
What we did to you last time we encountered you.
Right. So, she jumped into the action, which I thought was interesting. The part we skipped over was with when Sheridan, when they're waiting to make their move because the Narn guy had passed out. He was like kind of drifting off himself, and he has a dream.
Oh well, yeah. That's a very key point because we want to talk about that. If you look at my title, my little subtitle down there,
it's too small. I can't see it.
It says "You have always been here." So he's in this dreamlike state, with the shadows and light that's kind of in an off directional, type of way. And there's first he sees what Ivanova,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that he sees what Garibaldi was it,
Right. Yep.
and then and then who we are. I think is what it is.
Well,
And
I've
well,
got
Kosh
a
said,
transcript. I've got a transcript of the dream.
okay, go ahead.
All right. So Sheridan is first seen in his uniform in his quarters. When also appears wearing her uniform, Ivanova. She says, "Shh," and we see her with a raven on her shoulder, and she says, "Do you know who I am?"
right.
And then you want to go through the whole thing or take it piece by piece?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Good.
Sheridan is now he's in a corridor on Babylon 5. He looks up and sees himself on a catwalk in a strange uniform gripping the railing. We then see Garibaldi with a dove on his shoulder, and he says, "The man in between is searching for you." Then we see Ivanova in mourning clothes, mourning the death.
Yeah.
And Sheridan is in a Psycop uniform. Ivanova says, "You are the hand." Kosh then appears and is visible for the next few shots. Sheridan says, "Why are you here?" Kosh says, "We never went away. For the first time, your mind is quiet enough to hear me." Sheridan
Right.
says, "Why am I here?" Kosh says, "You have always been here."
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, it's really quick. It's kind of thrown in there, and you don't know. Maybe it's a fever dream, exhaustion dream or something like that. And then he wakes up, and then of course they're going. Now, after they get out, I guess we should probably finish that whole thought with it because, after they get back to Babylon 5, he sees Kosh standing in the hallway.
Yeah.
And this time, I'm pretty sure it is Kosh, not a fever dream, because he's wide awake.
Right.
And he says basically, he repeats that, "You have always been here." And
So that's weird.
very, yeah. So there's clearly something with the Vorlon. The Vorlons know something. They're in tune with
Creepy
something.
bastards.
And we've had this discussion too before about the Vorlons maybe are a little more aware of with that, what is it, the ant on a
Leaf.
flower or a leaf or whatever, compared to to humans. That's what we are, just the ant on the on the flower.
Right.
And I think the Vorlons are just that notch ahead, but I think that they are probably the enemies of these shadow beings, and have been, blink, blink.
Well,
Right.
and going back to what Sinclair's message talked about, he was like, "Stay close to the Vorlon, and watch out for shadows." So clearly, there's something brewing there. Um, but let's see. Oh, and then so there's a little exchange with Sheridan, talking about the kid that died, and
He was just a kid.
right, and Franklin's kind of like, yeah, it's not fair, right? It's like, I
Yeah.
wish you would have
That
died instead.
sucks.
But earlier on, we had Franklin overacting a bit, with the kid dying, and don't do this to me. It's like, oh yeah, it's about you, buddy. Don't
Damn it! Don't die on me! Don't
Uh,
die on me! I'm gonna.
some in my opinion, very
Yeah.
not great doctor drama kind of stuff there.
Yeah. That's Franklin being Franklin again. He
Yeah.
had his good moments, and he's got his.
Yeah.
I
So
thought the Sheridan Survivor's Guilt bringing that up was kind of interesting.
yeah, it's fine. It
No,
was
I
it was
think
kind of
I'm
brief
assuming.
though.
Yeah, I'm assuming there's more to it because he hasn't sort of shown that, in the past so far. We wouldn't see anything about that. We didn't. He was in the war. He must have lost soldiers. He didn't.
Sure.
mention anything about that before, but I just I note it because it's a kind of a a new aspect of his character that we haven't seen before.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm sure
It
that
almost felt a little out of place, but
it,
you
it,
know,
it was just kind of like I said, they kind of wedged it in there. I
yeah.
don't think it was bad. It was just quick. A
Yeah,
lot of other
I
stuff
kind of
going on.
yeah, I felt it was somewhat appropriate, but I kind of agree with Jeff. It seemed a little wedged.
Because he's captain and he's been in battle. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, he's lost people. You know, maybe he wasn't on the line. Was he on the line? I don't know if he was on the line.
Uh,
Uh, you know, uh, we know the previous commander was, but we also know that he was at the was it not Star Killer or something like that.
well, he was in he probably was well, I'm not sure because I don't think he was because he was in a prior battle,
Right.
which was a little farther out.
Yeah.
So that might have been he might have been
Maybe an
otherwise
IO or
occupied.
something like that.
Well, it was in the asteroid belt.
Yeah.
So okay,
Probably fit.
so now we're to the third, but in my opinion, most important storyline, which is General Haig being there. You guys ready to go
Interesting
into
that you say that because really it's kind of other than the bit with Kosh, um, it's the next shortest,
Yeah, and
but sets up things for the future
yeah,
clearly.
it's obviously a turning point. I think in the
Yeah.
definitely in the season, if not the entire.
All these suspicions that we've had are now kind of
Yeah,
the characters are now coming to this realization that we did many episodes
well,
ago that
well, there's
let's
there's
talk
some
about
stuff.
let's talk about what it is first before
Sure,
we.
go ahead. Yeah, you love this part, so you take it, Cam.
Okay, well, so Haig, meets Sheridan in his quarters. Sheridan's recovering, and and Sheridan kind of blows up. He's like, "It's about time. What do what? When am I going to be debriefed on this?" And he's referring to the whole thing about him taking over the command of the station. Because as you remember in the the first episode of the season, there's he's on the Agamemnon and he's contacted by Haig and basically is we don't see
Ordered.
exactly what's said, and then he's put in charge of the station. And this is a huge and very fast reveal here because I mean
Right.
we kind of know it, but that something happened, but Sheridan, his attitude is really strange here.
Especially
Because
for like one of his best friends, right?
well, I don't think he is his best friend. It's
Who Haig?
yeah,
No, Haig's in general. He's a captain. It's his.
Yeah.
he knows
But he
him,
served
and-
under him. I mean, and he,
yeah,
Doesn't
I
mean they're
think
friends.
right, but he's familiar with him, but I don't think that
Yeah.
they're like intimate, don't know each other, personally that well.
like the other fellow,
Be-
like the
and-
captain of the the
Yeah,
phenomenon.
those guys are peers. That's different. That's
Well, okay, but through this conversation, it's Higgs is spilling the beans here about it's like there was the former president was assassinated and da 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 da. And
Well, he doesn't confirm it.
he's discussing it. Though.
They discuss the suspicions that that they are coming to that belief.
well, you guys missed something. I mean, the first thing we find out is that Sheridan's been spying on.
No, we were getting there. I
Babylon
think.
5. No, that's the first thing he says.
Well,
I don't like spying on them.
I mean, yeah, he
They're
does
loyal.
point that out. I don't like spying. He says, Sheridan comes right and he says they're all loyal to Earth, and I don't like spying on my people. And Haig comes back and says, I'm, don't think of it as spying.
Well, and we also find out in the conversation that Haig is not 100 because Sheridan says he's like, how do you know that I'm not gonna turn on you, basically? And Haig talks, there's a lot that went on here, and it's like Sheridan was put in this position by Clark because he was believed to be a gung ho yes sir guy, and
Right.
Haig's like, we know that that's not you though.
Yeah.
So Haig knew enough about him
Because Clark was not military, obviously, and
right. So Haig made a maneuver there, right? And when he
Yeah.
saw this stuff going down, at the beginning of the season, it's like some maneuvering happened that got shared in this position, and so Haig was betting on Sheridan being that he was going to be on his side, and that's basically. I mean, they had that discussion very open. It's like, how do you know? And he's like, well, I'm confident in who you are,
Well,
and
let me
What-
ask this: how much of this is how much of Clark's decision to put Sheridan in charge is Haig influencing him because he knows what's coming?
Joint
right.
Chiefs?
Yeah,
Could
I
be.
think I think he probably
Oh, yeah.
did a little maneuver
Yeah.
there. He was, it's
Sure.
like, I need somebody here that we could trust. And he's like, oh yeah, how about this? How about the Sheridan guy? He's
I
he's
think,
uh
yeah, I
loyal.
think Haig would have said something like, "Okay, I've got Sheridan. I know that I can, he'll be on my side, but he'll look like he'll be on Clark's side.
He's a
Here's a
gung
guy,
ho yes man. Yeah.
Well, obviously Haig
this guy will
appears
be
to
your
be
yes
that too,
man,
though.
but he won't be."
Right. Haig clearly is in good graces with Clark, or he would be removed at this point.
Well,
So
Clark is gone now, though.
No.
No, he's not.
Santiago is gone.
Oh,
Clark is
Was
the
it
new
Santiago?
president.
Yeah, Santiago's dead.
Clark just did what Santiago had wanted, though. Would
Well,
have wanted.
we don't know what's going on exactly.
But-
What we know is there's a conspiracy. They believe
clearly.
there's a conspiracy.
And they point out, that they even have this. He said not everyone buys the party line. And he's like, and then they kind of named some of the different factions that we've talked about. And yes, they may have been supporting, but they're not the ones because they name, Earth First,
Yeah.
and the, some of the other groups. And then he's like, Psychor. And
Right.
he says,
it's like
the trick is
maybe-
proving it.
Right.
The trick is proving it.
Right. So what we get the idea of is that Haig is leading a or at least part of a faction that knows there's something wrong here. I mean, they basically say at the end, it's like, we're going to take our government back. I mean,
Yep.
They know or they believe something's gone wrong. And so they've put Babylon 5 is now a player in this, via
Maybe he's a
Sheridan.
traitor.
Well,
Not necessarily. I mean, the way he puts it is, look, they all these soldiers swore an oath to protect Earth from threats outside and within.
Right.
And that's important. And that's something that a lot of people need to, all enemies, foreign and domestic,
Right.
is basically what that is.
Yep.
Something that some people have forgotten.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's, again, good fiction applies to many things, not just my thing of the day. Right. So,
Right.
and this is a good example of it. But I mean, again, I'm so excited about this, because this is breaking it open. Right. I mean, and in the story, Sheridan breaks that open to the command staff, as not mentioned in the beginning. Right.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because he, after he's gone, after Haig, because the Agamemnon ship is it's gone and on to the next something or other that we don't know what it's going on to.
Sheridan mentioned that he wanted to go aboard, and visit, and they had already taken off.
Yeah.
So
and
I was just gonna say, so Haig basically is like, okay, you're on your own, or it's like,
do you trust your people,
Right.
and if you trust them, the next thing is you want to make sure that they're willing to go, because once you it's like crossing that line. Once you've crossed that right now, you can clue them in a little bit, but once, because they're already suspicious. We know that they're already suspicious,
right. Like, I mean, we know Garibaldi uncovered the plot,
Right.
the assassination plot and all that.
So it's a question
They've
of
tried to pass that information on to Sheridan, right?
right. Well,
in the first episode, but then we've kind of not really, pulled at that thread since then.
Well, that's the thing. All of this stuff has been floating out there. I mean, going back to season 1, it's like, oh, is Psychor influencing the election, or is this, all this stuff going on? And in this very short scene, it's just like, yep, there's a conspiracy, and now Babylon 5 is a player in the middle of it. I mean, we knew that they were, but it's like all those things just solidified.
Right. And this is the thing that, if you choose to do this, this is your mission. If you choose to accept it, you know,
Mhm.
you're in. Once you're in, you're in.
Right.
You can't. There's no turning back at that point. You've crossed
You're
that
either in or you're
threshold.
dead.
Yeah, at that
Yeah.
point. So,
And
he does give them the opportunities. Like, look, it just kind of covers the generic, the generalistics. We all know something funny's been going on. Yada yada yada. We have our suspicions.
I mean, this is a huge thing. I mean, he literally is like, okay,
This could be considered treason by some, and it could
right.
be considered, upholding their oath and their to their presumably their constitution for
Right.
Earthdom. And he just says, look, we'll have support from within Earthdom, but not
I'm
we
pretty
can't
sure
trust everyone.
the Earth government is going to consider it treason. So if they get caught before they could,
Well, that's the thing.
their counter coup, they're going to be trying
We
to
don't-
trade.
And he
We don't
says
even know
inch
the
by
size.
inch.
We don't even know the sides really at this point. So this is really dangerous. It's like they're a cell and operating, and Sheridan says we might have, we have some help from the inside, but we're basically on our own. And-
We're trying to find out what's going on for sure
Right.
before we
Well,
before things before we go into a hot war with a hot civil war. We want to make sure that everybody is that we know for certain, and we've got the proof, and that we
right. And well, you also have the part of this with Sinclair, and where he's told them it's like, the whole thing with the Rangers and how they're going to be filtering information through there. So it's like, I mean, this is
that's another faction that is Haig even aware of that faction?
most likely not.
Probably not.
So that kind of creates
Well, you see how
Babylon 5 becomes a nexus for
exactly.
for
does.
yeah.
Well, not only that, but you've got the Narn Centauri War out there too.
Mhm.
And what kind of impact is that going to have on how Babylon 5 functions in general, but also how it fits into whatever is going on back on Earth? And now
Right.
Haig is through Sheridan bringing in the crew of the station into whatever is going on back with this with the brewing civil war on Earth and Mars, and with
Right.
Psychor and whoever else is involved.
Well, that also makes you think about the last episode with the Gropos. Those
Mhm.
soldiers getting involved in some war. Is that a distraction maybe by one of the other factions, or
there's all these moving pieces
Yeah.
going on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what's great about this show is this is Straczynski. You get to see a little bit of his brilliance in this now, right?
Yeah.
He's got weaknesses, but this is his strength. Where again, remember in the first season where we had all these things, and then we had one point where it kind of crystallized a little bit, and it's like, oh, okay, this was one of those episodes, right, where a few of these things came together, and it's like, oh, okay, I could see now where this is going. But it brilliantly, in terms of a story thing where you're focusing on certain characters, it is like you said, it's Babylon 5 is the nexus for this, right?
Right.
So it's like, they didn't ask for this. This wasn't supposed to be like it's an important place, but it was, like you said, some people consider it kind of a backwater, and not that
Right.
important. And obviously the Nimbari don't care.
You want to
about
punish
it.
somebody, send them to Babylon 5.
Right. So, but again, we're the viewers, and we're seeing Babylon 5, and we're being told why it's important that we see it. And well, there's a tangent I can go off on regarding George R.R. Martin, but suffice it to say,
I already did. Go ahead.
well, I'll try and keep it very brief. The whole thing, it's like, oh, he's so brilliant. He kills off these main characters. Like, yeah, dumbass, because you don't tell stories about characters that don't matter. And this show understands it. It's like, we're seeing what matters. This is why it's the story.
Yeah.
Except Martin killed off one character that he absolutely needs in order to have a good ending.
Well, he's a crap writer, so
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Them's fighting words for some people.
Well, let's go. We'll fight that
Not
on
me.
another channel.
I saw Red Wedding, and I'm like, oh God,
Yeah.
really? You just killed off everybody I liked. All right, I'm done.
So it's a one-trick pony thing that he's done
Yeah.
too many times.
It happened too many times.
Yeah, exactly. Tangent ending. Okay, so I'm sorry.
No.
But okay, so what do you guys?
I kind of
Okay,
disagree. Anyway,
well, you're you don't.
Go ahead. Speak up, snob. You're too
no,
quiet.
it's not. This is Babylon 5, not.
Well,
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
yeah, we're I brought it up because it relates to what's going on in Babylon 5 in that this is a story that is justifying within the story why these people are important, right? Instead of just they're important because of the thing in front of us. It's like, no, we're seeing why it's important. As Jeff said, it's become this nexus more so than even the basic setup as a UN kind of
The
thing.
factions of good are starting. It's a nexus for the factions of good.
Yes. And
You know.
so now I talked a lot about this. What do you guys, Snob, you didn't say anything about this particular, what do you think about this segment of the story?
You mean what
With Haig and
aspect
everything.
you're talking about in general?
Well, the thing with Haig and the conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean it's basically just throwing it all out there for us, and you know it's like, okay, it's like a switch being flipped. Boom,
Right.
we're now going to confirm everything that you thought, and we're going to lay it all out there, and we're going to find out Haig is part of it, which is interesting because I didn't like him in the first episode. He seemed a little bit of a jerk, but we found out he's on the good guys team, and of course everyone, all the good guys, of course Franklin and Ivanova and Garibaldi are going to get behind Sheridan. And we knew that was going to, we knew that they would be all on board. They've already, were a little suspicious about the assassination. They thinking it was an assassination, and I think they seem to, like I said, it seemed to go in the back burner. But I could write that off to the fact that Sheridan's the boss, and they're telling him, and he's not doing anything about it. So,
well, no, you're right. All that's part of the problem is all those things were kind of put on the back burner. It's like, oh, did Psychor mess around with that? It's like in the first season and throughout the second season so far, it's just like all these things. They're just kind of like, and they just kind of move on. And so that's why I love this so much, is because, like you just said, the things do come together. Like, okay, now we're acting on it. We're not going to just let those things float out there.
I didn't hold that against them so much because there's only so much you can do if you're Garibaldi or Ivanova, right?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, from a writer's standpoint, you have all of these threads that are sitting out there, and you haven't done anything with them yet. And there's an opportunity here when you start pulling those threads together, and you start calling back to things we haven't seen before. This is a spot where you get the satisfaction of the audience that's paying attention sits here and goes, oh yeah,
exactly.
And then you bring them along, and then suddenly they're in on the joke, right? They're in on the gag. They know what's going on because they've been paying attention, and now you have all of these different things that start coming together because Jeff talks about Babylon 5 being a nexus for all the good guys. That also includes the Underground Railroad.
Well, I was actually, that went through my head just not even 3 minutes ago. You got Franklin with the Underground Railroad, and those people that have left Psychor that he's trying to help get out. I think they may turn around and play a part in a future conflict when they're trying to,
Yeah, because the pipeline, I'm sure, is still there. The infrastructure for the pipeline and out is still there. Whether it's for psychics or not, it could be for anybody that you got to get out somewhere. It could be used for the Rangers could end up using it. The military could end up using it. There's all sorts of different ways that you can incorporate that into the overall mix of things too.
Wait a second now. Remember, Sheridan says that he wanted it shut down, and Franklin seems to agree and have said that he shut it down. We don't know if that really happened.
but all Franklin has to do is make a phone call and reactivate it, I'm sure.
Or at least get some connections.
Or maybe
on.
Maybe he's kept it going.
We need this information on we need to get this information from this point to that point. And who was it? Was it Franklin who was dubbed with keeping tabs on things? Was it Franklin or was it Sheridan himself?
Keeping tabs on what?
Or is it Garibaldi with the Rangers?
That's
Garibaldi
Garibaldi.
was the point man.
So Garibaldi's the point man with the Rangers. Franklin, so he's got Garibaldi's got the Rangers. Franklin's got the Underground Railroad. What's Ivanova got? What's her connection?
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing yet, maybe.
Nothing yet.
Yet.
Although,
Yet.
she's
I'm
second in
funny.
command of the station, so she's operations. So that I would say would put her in charge of the
Cover up.
Yeah.
security and the fighter jockeys.
Yeah.
So local defense.
Sure.
In near space.
I find it
yeah.
interesting that I think I mean, of all the, if you're running a conspiracy, I mean, the primary thing is going to be Earth Dome, and that, and whatever happening on Earth. But the secondary most important place is going to be Babylon 5, because it's got all those fingers into all the other races in the galaxy, all the other aliens and stuff, and that's going to be important, because if the other aliens want to get together, they can put the hurt on Earth. So you're going to need to keep them. Both sides are going to want them. So I think it's pretty smart getting Babylon 5 on, because I think that would be the second biggest nexus of power. And the fact that, I mean, the writing is good in that Haig has implied that at least the conspirators on Earth, the Clark's people, they're at least going to be somewhat distracted, because maybe they think Babylon 5 is not in play. Like, if they don't have control of it themselves per se, because they haven't come to Sharon and said, hey, we want you to support this assassination that we did. At least it's in neutral, and it's not. They might think that it's neutral. It's not, allied against them, which might be enough for them.
Yeah. That
But of course, we know that it's not.
We've got this.
The other column.
We've got this battle over in this one planet. The Narns are fighting with the Centauri, so they're occupied and they're kind of going to be out of our business, and so maybe they're just going to be, because clearly there's some with the Earth Firsters and some of the other groups. I think they're sowing discord just to try and keep the people occupied with with other matters. Well, yeah. Speaking of Narns,
Well, hold on. Are you suggesting that Earth, the conspirators on Earth, let's call them the Clarkites,
yeah.
or, the group that assassinated, are they're sowing the seeds of discontent and between the Narn?
Well, I think
the Centauri, in order so that they can carry on their conspiracy a little better. I wouldn't say that. I would say I think that there's whatever's going on with this smaller conspiracy, there's still the bigger coming of
the shadow. Yeah.
The Shadow War, and I think that's probably more that.
But
has a
again,
more thing to do with-
we
I
don't
know, but I suspect that's
we don't know if some
the
we
shadows
don't know
are
if,
behind the war between the Narn and the Membari and
What
the Centauri, and that maybe the shadows are also inevitably behind the conspiracy to get rid of Santiago and bring in Clark. But
what if somebody and I had postulated something like this. What if somebody in Psychor had asked for a favor from one of the shadow people, kind of like the Centauri, and this and they've got their own plans, to try and take over for their own reasons, but the shadow people, the shadow, whatever we're going to call them, have an overall plan, a master plan that the individual groups that they're striking discord amongst don't have,
Yeah.
and I think maybe the Vorlons can see it, and yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at on that. I think there's you've got the whole shadow group, and then you've got the Narns and the Centauri, and you've got the Psychor Clark people versus the loyal people that are loyal and to Earth itself to humanity, and not the whole Earth firsters type thing, but loyal to the best interests of humanity as a spacefaring race in general, and getting along with other aliens. And there's probably other things going on, So obviously the Minbari are having their own strife right now. Maybe Nehruin made a deal with somebody too. Who knows?
There's still lots of questions. We've
Oh
peeled
yeah,
back one layer of the
we've
onion, but
we've
there may
cracked
be
it.
more,
We've
much
cracked the
more
nut,
layers.
but it's not open yet. We've cracked that walnut. We can see there's something in there, but we can't quite get to it. We know it's a walnut or a pecan,
All right,
something
Cam,
like that.
Yes.
did we? I know Cam knows exactly what happened. He's seen the whole thing, so he's probably just laughing
Well,
as we speculate here.
Yeah.
Is that what
Well-
you wanted us to talk about the whole?
I
wanted to-
undoubtedly this is a pivotal moment in the entire series. Again, it's just kind of the thing that's funny about it is it's just kind of dropped in there at the end, and it's like this might be one of the most pivotal moments in the series.
Yeah, I find it interesting that we don't actually see, Sheridan gets the other three together with him, and basically, hey, you want in on this conspiracy, and they basically say yes, but he doesn't say anything else. Like the episode ends there. We don't know what else. Like, what's his plan? What did he tell him to do? Did he give them tasks? We don't see any of that. They're keeping that secret from us, right? Like, you
Yeah.
don't call these, you could call them together and say, hey, you want to be in on this conspiracy? And everyone's like, yeah, of course we're in, that was kind of a foolish
We'll
question.
see. We'll
The
see
next
what
thing is
happens
gonna
in the
be,
next
what do you
episode.
want me to do, boss? Right? Like, and he should have something ready to tell them, but we don't know what he told them or if he told them anything. As far as we know, he said, all right, you're in. Okay. Talk to you later. See you later, man.
Yeah.
So I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, again, it's one of these things. It's like they don't have all their ducks in a row. They're to the point where they're trying to figure it out still.
Well, and as Kay Roberts said, turmoil is what that's what I was talking about. By all this turmoil happening, the shadows, they can seep in the shadows and try to, it's ultimately a good versus evil,
And
is where this is going.
even Haig does Haig tell Sheridan what he wants him to do? He says, I have the transcript. I'm reading it and I'm looking at it. He's going, I'm going to try to feed you as much information as I can when I can. But he doesn't tell him, we need you. He says your cooperation is essential if we're going to take back our government. I need your answer. But what does he tell him to do? Oh, okay, I'm in. All right. But like, you should at least tell him, okay, I want you to, monitor the Minbari, monitor these guys, find out what the other races think. Do, watch for this, watch for that. Like,
Well, to be fair,
anything.
his assignment probably is that's probably the contingency in that is, okay, you're going to go to the station, you're going to figure out who's loyal to the legitimate government, and then here's a series of instructions for various options that you can employ once we determine that something is up. So that, for Haig to sit there and say, okay, we'll bring in your people, and they start making objective plans, there are already conversations that have taken place. I'm looking at it as this is a follow-up to a conversation they had 6 months prior to him coming to the station. So,
Yeah, my point is that we don't know that, and we haven't been told.
No, we don't know that, but you can infer it because we join them in process of the mission, where he sits there, because Haig says, what did you determine? And Sharon's like, well, our people are loyal to Earth, The only way he knows that, and the only way that Haig knows to ask that, is because they're already established on this mission. So there has to have been conversations prior to this.
Well, he might have just said, hey, I'm putting you on this, on Babylon 5, more to follow. Find out if your people are loyal. He might have just said that. Like, he might not.
Yeah, but those kind of orders in a traditional military setting, those kind of orders would be a ginormous red flag.
Yeah.
And if you're in any position at all where you're supervising other people, if you're in charge of other people, you're in charge of the ship, you're in charge of the crew, whatever, and you get some full of himself admiral comes down here, chairman of the Joint Chiefs comes in and says, well, I want X, Y, and Z. Well, who are you to tell me to demand that you need X, Y, and Z? You don't. I mean, you might be part of National Command Authority, but at the same time, there are protocols and processes involved. And so, when we get to this point now, all of that has been set up. What are the rules of engagement? What are the parameters of the mission? How do I know what I'm supposed to do? How do I know how far to take it? So I think you don't necessarily need to have that scene, because that scene took place 6 months ago.
I don't know that that's true. He might like.
Well, it has to be true. No, and it has to be true, though. I mean, logic demands for that conversation to have happened, because that's when Sheridan got his orders. When he's there on Haig's say-so to do this thing, and we join them on the tail end of Sheridan doing this thing. So they had to have had a conversation to establish that Sheridan was going to do this thing.
The only thing that we know that Haig has told Sheridan to do is to find out if these guys are loyal.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah,
we don't know if he's been given any other information. And in fact, I mean,
yeah, but that's not what you said. You said it's not. We don't know that those conversations happen. We do. They had to have taken place in order for us to be where they're at.
Well, we know that Sheridan feels like he's been left out there without a lot of clarity. He's like, when am I going to be debriefed? I think my personal take on that is that there is more to it. It's not just, go see how these people are doing. I don't.
Yeah, because he's been stewing for 6 months. He's like, you guys left me out here hanging. Obviously there's supposed to be follow up to something that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, if it was just a matter of, are they loyal? Yes. Okay, business as usual, right?
Yeah, easy thing to do.
No, there's obviously more that Haig wants to do, for sure. My point is that we, as the viewer, don't know what that is.
We don't know the specifics of what it is.
We don't know what it is, and we don't know that even Sheridan knows about it. And a military operation versus a conspiracy are two different things. I'm getting the impression, Jason, that you're saying that Sheridan knows what his next step is supposed to be, and Haig has told him what that is. And I'm saying,
at the very least, I don't
know that.
At the very least, there was some kind of outline, because if you're outlining objectives for a mission, then part of that briefing is, here's plan A, here's plan B if plan A goes sideways, here's plan C. There are always, especially in a military operation, there are always contingencies. So Sheridan would have had to have been briefed on, here's the objective, here's objective A. Past that, we have this part of the mission is contingent on what you find out in part A of the mission. And Sheridan's been sitting on part A of the mission waiting for somebody to come in here and activate part B. He knows what comes next. Maybe not a specific set of orders, but he's got orders that he knows go beyond establishing the loyalty of the crew. Because that in and of itself, I don't think we've seen that.
We don't see that.
We don't have to see it.
I think you're assuming too much.
No,
You know,
because it has
this
to.
is
It
a
has to
this is
work
a
that way.
conspiracy. This is a
No, because
conspiracy.
we already have Sheridan being frustrated because he hasn't been debriefed because there's something that comes next. He's like, I'm waiting for the next thing. I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. You guys left me hanging out here to dry. And I'm waiting to let you know what's going on so that we can get on with the next thing.
And that to me implies that he doesn't know what the next thing is, because if
Well-
he did, he would just carry on with it. As
Okay.
well, it's not strictly a military operation; it's a conspiracy.
Okay.
So Haig might sit there and go, he needs to keep
No.
things close
Need
to
to
the
know.
chest.
Need to know operations.
know.
Need to know operations are not necessarily conspiracies.
No, I understand that, but this is a conspiracy, and he might be under the impression that no, I'm not going to tell Sheridan what's next, because what if he gets compromised or something like that? So here's your first task: go find out if your people are loyal, and then I'll come and talk to you. And it's been 6 months now. Now Haig is back. Now, did Haig tell him something? I'm not disagreeing necessarily. Maybe Haig told him, go find if your people are loyal, and if they are, here's 10 things to do or a million things to do. We don't know. Maybe.
Well, the fact
my
that
point is
Sheridan,
that we don't know.
yeah, but
And
the fact
I'm-
that Sheridan comes in at the end and says, "Okay, here's what's happening," he does know, because Sheridan then briefs his people on what's going on.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion that Sheridan certainly knew more than we ever had been led to believe in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that all of this is in conflict. I think you guys are
Coming at it from different perspectives.
right. I think.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I don't think Haig knows everything that there is to know. As you said, it is a conspiracy. It's not like
They're trying to uncover the conspiracy.
Yes.
Right.
And
They're,
so
they're the counter conspiracy, if
They are
anything.
still a conspiracy of themselves.
okay, true, but they can't. Because they're trying to it's about gathering information, because they're trying to figure out what their ultimate move should be. Still, they're in the planning stages of this, so it's not just here, this is your order, 1 2 3 go, but it doesn't mean that there aren't broad goals that they're trying to pursue. So
Yeah, this is the intelligence gathering part of the mission.
And he said they're treading very lightly and 1 inch at a time,
Right. I mean, do you guys think do you think it doesn't make, regardless of where you're coming from, do you think that it makes sense in the story, what's going on with shared?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it completely makes sense. I'm just, my comment is that simply that we don't, I don't know. I find it interesting that Straczynski has put, he's dropped this bomb. He's flipped the switch. He told us things that we've kind of suspected
in the last 5 minutes of the show,
step, which is to tell us what the characters are going to do next. Which I'm not saying is necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that he purposefully has done. He said, "Hey, the switch is flipped. There's now a conspiracy going on, or a counter conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. And I'm not going to tell you what the good guys are going to do to, as their counter conspiracy. I'm going to save that to later." Or
and you got to keep in mind that this is essentially it is a conspiracy, and so they're operating kind of as cells, right? Haig is the connection point to I don't know that Sheridan knows everyone else that's involved in this. I'm sure he doesn't know what that
I
is.
wouldn't tell if I was Haig.
Right, exactly. So, all I'm trying to say is this makes sense in terms of the story. The seeds have been planted, and now we've seen the stalks coming up, and it's like, oh wait, they're all going to the same place, right?
It's like the origins of the Rebel Alliance.
Right.
They were not all. Everybody was not in unison at one time in the beginning.
Yeah,
and there's different factions, and now we're starting to see. Babylon 5 might be that.
Factions, really.
Well, I like that you guys are having this discussion though, because
and where it's all going. That's the funny part.
This is a story. It is a story that has a plan, and it's. I love seeing these pieces come together and it triggering all these different thoughts. It's like, well, what is going on? Here, who does know what, and
right.
And you guys obviously have a little different take on it, but I think you just all agreed that it's working in terms of the story, which is what's important.
Yeah, definitely making us discuss.
I don't expect them to tell us everything on off the bat. I'm kind of curious as to whether, did Haig, what Haig, you know, uh, what I'm curious as to what Haig told, what
What did he
additional
know?
information
What does he
or
know, and
orders
what
he
did he
gave
tell?
him,
Yeah.
if any, or if he didn't, or if if Sheridan
Well,
just, I've mentioned this, if Sheridan said, hey, you guys are in the conspiracy, and if he gave them some orders or something to do, or if he just said, hey,
I,
that's it for now,
I will
your eyes and
suggest
ears open.
based on the conversation that Haig and Sheridan had here, is that he thought he could trust Sheridan, and he knew that he was seen as a loyalist kind of guy, but had enough insight to know that he wasn't just blindly loyal to things, and so I think he probably would have played on that. And it's like, hey, you're doing your duty here. There's something going on. This is very important. You need to keep this quiet. Kind of the need to know thing that you were talking about. And so, but at the same, so I'm kind of between you and Jason here. It's like I think that he probably was given various directives. We don't know exactly what they were, but we probably know the nature of it was both to test him and to gather, to be an information source for
Intel
Haig.
gathering. Yeah.
Right.
I don't think that Haig told him gave him any specific orders or anything to do specifically, because I don't think Haig knows what to do yet.
Well, there's a lot of
I
moving
agree
pieces,
that this
for
is
sure.
Yeah.
this is intelligence gathering. I mean, let me just quickly read. Haig says, the last things he says. No, it's not time, but no, it's not. But it's time we stopped reacting, and started acting. Now, in 20 minutes, I'm going to get on a ship, head for Earth. I'll try to feed you as much information as I can when I can. Your cooperation is essential if we're going to take back our government. So I need your answer, Captain. I need it now. I think that Haig doesn't know what to do. He's in the initial sort of trying to find out what exactly happened, so he can act as opposed to quote react. But that's my own personal opinion.
Well, I mean the fact that the ship with Santiago blew up in the Mars, near Mars, whatever, when he was going on a trying to settle quill things there, raised some eyebrows, certainly in the lifelong military personnel. They're like, wait a second, this is kind of weird, something's going on here. And so
the whole thing smelled, even if you didn't know.
Right.
Garibaldi
Right.
knew. Oh, the guy leaves. The vice president leaves the ship. Oh, I'm sick with the flu.
Right.
Then,
It was all too convenient.
Wait a second.
Everything was too convenient, and people, people with any kind of tactical or experience or knowledge are going, something's rotten in Denmark, so to speak, or
and then the whole hey, I mean, imagine if right now, if Air Force One blew up with the president on it, you don't think there'd be a years long investigation to find out what happened? How did this thing just blow up? And then
it depends on the party. It depends on the party of the administration at the time.
Exactly.
I mean, well,
which makes you think, right? Like, don't
you
worry, investigation. No, we don't need to. I mean,
you can harken back to the Kennedy thing, yeah. I mean,
we don't need to.
More recently than that.
That's enough with the autopsy. Just
yeah.
Like,
well, and I think too, Straczynski is very prescient here because like Jeff says, we're dealing with a situation here where the previous administration and other administrations prior to that may have been involved in a larger conspiracy than what we even realize. And various members of the intelligence community, the Department of Justice, the law enforcement agencies were heavily compromised, but not only by politics, but ethical quandaries, ethical compromises as well. And all in the name of maintaining power, maintaining control, maintaining
pushing a particular agenda and
I think we've got the same thing going on here. I mean,
I don't think Straczynski implied it this way, but I mean it's a close parallel. Yeah.
But that goes back to archetypes, right? It goes back to tropes and universal stories, and things. Yeah, it's like K. Roberts says, it's like
History
poetry. It
rhymes.
rhymes. And this kind of thing happens even when Lucas is talking about Star Wars. He says it's not just Vietnam. It's not just Vietnam. It's also World War II. It's also Korea.
Korea.
It's also
Yep.
World War One. It's
Yep.
also the fall of Rome. I mean, all of these different things. These things happen in cycles.
Yep.
And the rise and fall of the Roman Empire is the same kind of thing. And so Straczynski's got this thing going here that it seems like the beginning of something similar to what we've seen play out in other stories, the same kind of thing. And it's like Jeff says, the beginning of the rebellion, we see all of these different pieces come together. I think we're starting to see that here.
Yeah.
This is Babylon 5's Andor.
Yeah. Yeah. But pretty much. Or well, the what we saw before Andor.
Yeah.
Well, this is definitely that, because you've seen this in Rebels too. That's the
Yeah.
first thing actually that came into my mind was the way that Rebels portrayed it, where things are starting to come together, and very very similar concept. Although Babylon 5 came before that.
Mm-hmm.
It was written long before Rebels was, and long before Andor was, and so
Well,
Well,
these stories.
these are logical ways that these things evolve, right? Like
yeah,
if you've got a government that is oppressive, or people are going to rebel, then of course different groups are going to get together and they're going to start um, you know fighting back, and they won't necessarily know
yeah,
about each other. And then at some point, if they're going to be successful, they're probably going to have to be merged together into a cohesive group in order to
to fight, yeah, at some point, yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
so we're
good
in the
episode.
base, you know, but who knows if there's how many groups are involved or anything. Yeah, I find it just like I said, for me, it's what the writer of the story tells us and doesn't tell us is interesting to me. Yeah,
Yeah, sometimes the details left out are more important than what's put in. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, part of that is storytelling. He's not going to
Yeah,
drop everything on
yeah,
us at once, but I'm curious to find out, if he did, if within the storyline more was dropped at that point or not. And I mean, I'm sure we'll find out later that he gave them a bunch more orders, or he didn't tell them anything, and he's giving them new orders now. But I'm kind of curious in the next episode to see. I mean, I suspect we won't see any immediate changes
you think we'll
because
get a filler next week?
well, the way these stories go, there's 22 episodes in the season. I mean, it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily going to necessarily push the thing, immediately in the next episode. It might be a few episodes, but I expect that we'll probably see some sort of action from Garibaldi, Ivanova, or Franklin that will reflect this new reality that's going on.
Nerds. Yeah. We all are definitely nerds. Proud of it.
All right, should we move to wrap up?
Yeah, all right,
Sure.
let's wrap her up.
Sure.
Who wants to go first? Jason, your thoughts on the episode? Last-
7.5, 8 out of 10, I guess. 7.5. The torture scenes don't work for me. I think the beginnings. I think we're starting to see the beginnings of things, but I think it's also interesting that we've introduced another alien race as an adversary on top of the shadows, and the fact that Kosh is there in Sheridan's head. Now that we've met the Stribes, is significant. But what it means, who knows? But I think it's going to be significant to future plot points. And I think we're starting to see the beginnings, and I'm versed enough to know some of the things that happen coming up in future seasons. So I can see things start. I can see that this is the starting point going to some of that. I'm not going to spoil it, but I know that there are things happened in later seasons. This feels like the beginning of that. So we'll see where it goes. I think the rest of the season is going to be an interesting mix of all of these conspiracy threads and the war threads and all of that. And they're going to culminate together at some point in the future. I think. I'm pretty sure.
Jeff.
Well, um, this was a really good episode, definitely. I mean, you're seeing the different factions. You're seeing it gets your mind just running wild and rampant with, all these different things that are now you see that they're all in motion. All the suspicions are starting to gel together, and and the characters too are they're starting to get that. You're seeing more about what's going on with the turmoil, with all the different major races are in turmoil at this point. Not counting the Vorlons, but I guess even they would be in a way, but because of their clear animosity towards the Shadow. But you're seeing all of this stuff starting to all those threads are starting to come together, and in the story you just see what's going on. I'm gonna give it. I'm leaning towards an 8.5. To be honest, I think it's an 8.5 out of 10. It was a really really good episode, and I actually watched this one twice. I watched it a few days ago, and then I watched it again tonight just to be sure that I was going to talk about the right episode and take some notes. But at any rate, I took 3 pages of notes. So I was like, wow, there's so much. There's so what was there one episode where it just like I had like maybe a page.
Wait, 3 pages of notes? Those are rookie numbers.
Really? Okay. Well, everybody gave me a hard time about taking 2 pages. Well, this one went. It's 2.5. 2.5. But yeah, It's definitely got me. It's whet my appetite for. I want to see more. I want to see what's coming on. Hopefully, the next episode is not just a filler. Maybe hopefully it does kind of push things forward, even if it's a kind of a break back a little bit. Maybe cover tells us what's going on with the Centauri, or with the Narn. I do think that it would be interesting to see if Sheridan does have this connection now with a Narn, another Narn pilot. Quite frankly, we don't know what he is or who he is. Obviously, I'm sure Jakar will know who he is. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops, as well as all the other things that we've discussed. I think in quite a bit of depth too. So 8.5 out of 10. No great egg.
Cam.
This is a 9 wrapped in a 6 kind of thing. I love the episode because of all these things that happen, but the most important things are almost footnotes, in terms of the presentation. Meaning they take up very little screen time. The stuff with Haig and what's going on with Earth is the biggest one, but just behind that importance, if not equal, is what's going on with Delenn. And there was more time devoted to that. Yeah. But these are 2 huge things where other threads come together, and then we're moving forward from them. Unfortunately, the storyline with Sheridan getting kidnapped is kind of incidental, which is, I guess, the A plot. so that's the part that, and like, it didn't make a lot of sense what was going on with, like you said, with the torture and the other details. It was just kind of, so it's a strange way to present it, um, but the content, if you can get by that, is the peak, at peak level, for this show and where it's going. And understanding that this is in the middle of the story, still, but
Well, it's an instigating event.
right.
It's something that's like, okay, we need something to kick this off to start us down the path of all of these different stories that are going to play out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, this is like you're going up a staircase and you hit a landing, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, there's a big staircase still ahead of me. But yeah, so but I forgot that a lot of these things came in this episode. So I was like pleasantly surprised by it. So I'm going to stick with the 9 asterisks on this one.
9 asterisks.
Yeah. So when the episode started and I was watching it, I was a little bit disappointed because I thought the Lynn stuff, though important, it kind of ended how I somewhat expected, her to get, booted from the council, that kind of thing. And then I was a little bit, why are these aliens that we don't know anything about are now kidnapping Sheridan? What do they have to do with anything? Are they part of the shadow? What's going on? That kind of thing. But then, of course, Haig shows up and he drops this giant bomb, and the whole episode sort of changes. And it's like, okay, well, this is obviously a pivotal episode. So, any disappointment I had was gone after that. It tied everything in together with, a little bit at the beginning. You're like, the Lynn stuff, normal, expected. The other stuff, what does this have to do with anything? But yeah, it kind of comes together. So it, like I said, very pivotal. I'm looking forward to, seeing what happens next. I want to see. I'm not against the way that Straczynski has not told us anything about, what the crew are going to do or what their orders are or what we should be looking. I'm kind of hoping we'll see, like I said, seeing them do things in the, in further episodes, which will, reflect back on to what they were sort of told to do or how they're going to deal with this conspiracy. And then we'll it'll be revealed to us. We'll have to say, oh, that's why Franklin's doing that or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, overall good episode. Yeah. Enjoyed it. I mean,
what'd you give it?
Not enough Londo or Jakar in it. But
There wasn't
even then,
any Londo or Jakar. I mean,
Yeah, you got to get those guys.
They spent all that money on the 3 other random aliens.
Yeah. I mean, seeing that Narn guy in there, that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see him a little bit.
A new Narn.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. Shall we go to trivia? Trivia questions. Let's do our trivia questions. Yeah. All right. Let me go here.
My favorite color is not orange. Why would you think it's orange? I hardly ever wear.
You're not a Tennessee Vols fan?
No, I'm not a sports
ball guy. Yeah,
no, not at all. I only wear orange when I'm doing the yard work.
Hey, look, there's trivia,
and you're on stream. All right, so the questions. How long has it been since Sheridan traveled through space? Who has replaced Delenn on the Great Council? Who never knows when to butt out? That one is in there, but we talk about it specifically. Who comes to Babylon 5 to speak to Sheridan? What race kidnapped Sheridan and others passing through Sector 29? I think we talked about at least four of those 5 questions. So that should be fairly easy. Answers next week, of course.
Of course.
Yeah, I will note that we are halfway through season 2 already.
I know. It's amazing,
that's
right?
11,
Wow.
22 episodes for the season. Jason, what's coming up on Sci-Fi for Me?
Tomorrow on the program, Richard Palinelli will be here where he's talking about his new book, which is called Of All the Gin Joints in the Universe. It dropped this week, so we're going to be talking about that. He's got another book that's coming out in September So he will be back to give us an update on what he's got going. He is also in charge of Tuscany Bay Publishing. So we'll see what other titles he's got coming out. So that's tomorrow in the second hour. And then I have to go work at the Nebraska football game tomorrow night. I'm
really? Oh, is that the first game of the season?
I guess. I don't know. It's Nebraska and Cincinnati, and it's going to be out at Arrowhead, and I'm going to have to be running up and down the field pulling a cable for the
I guess
handheld
Cincinnati's
camera guy, and that's not going to be fun at all.
Cincinnati's not that bad of a, I
So,
guess, college football. I love college football.
you can have it.
Jeff.
Well, let's see. I did a test stream the other day on my Ham Radio Rejects channel, and I was playing around with some different things with the mics and stuff. Might make it public again, but it was more of a test stream. But I'll probably do some more. We do actually, Jeanette and I have a couple of things we are going to be putting up there on that channel. We've got a couple of. Let me see here. Oh, where'd they go? Oh, yeah, they're in the other. Anyway, we've got some mystery boxes and stuff like that. We got when we were at the Ham Fest. We're going to open up on stream, do a stream on that, and probably show some pictures and stuff like that from the event. So you can look forward to that, and that's just look for Ham Radio Rejects if you're interested. Yeah, and also I do have one thing to say. So now that it is tomorrow, it's the 28th. The 29th is Jeanette's birthday. So she's going to be hitting a big one, and I'm not going to say what it is, but if everybody wants to say happy birthday, Jeanette, she's been in the stream. I haven't seen her tonight, so she might be kind of busy.
I'll say happy 29th birthday coming up.
Yeah, yeah, and many anniversaries thereof.
You may never go past 29.
Yeah. She did that for a long time, actually. She did that until we were old enough, until she was old enough for me to sign her up to AARP.
Old enough to vote?
Oh no, I signed her up for AARP. I signed us both up the minute she turned old enough. Yeah,
Get them discounts, right?
Yeah. So I've been a member since I was 47.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, so happy birthday, Jeanette.
Yeah, happy
baby
birthday.
doll.
Happy birthday, Jeanette.
Happy birthday. Cam.
Well, on Sunday night, we have at 11 p.m. Eastern, we have Top Lofty Lounge with a topic to be announced. But I believe I will have a tool segment, short tool segment, ready to go on a hot new screwdriver.
Oh, I love
right.
Screwdrivers.
Good.
Yeah,
Does it do a lot?
It may be. It's been if you watch any of the tool channels, it's been a big splash. It's for the last month or so, and it's been coming in and out of stock, and I nabbed one. So it's silly. It's a screwdriver, right? But it's got features, and everybody's excited about it. So
It's not a flamethrower?
no,
Disappointed.
No.
They do have blueprints out there where you can build your own.
yeah.
You know who I did run across?
Screwdriver will help do that.
You know who I did run across when we were at the Ham Fest? I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Destin from Smarter Every Day.
Mm-hmm.
No? Nobody? Really? Nobody watches Smarter Every Day? Oh, he's awesome. He's a
dumber
literal rocket scientist, and y'all have never heard of him. What kind of nerds are you? No, he's also a ham, but he was out there with a buddy of his, and he lives in that area, in that general vicinity, and he actually created a 99% made in the USA scrubber for a grill scrubber. He tried to make it 100% in the USA, but there was some parts that they had problems getting, and he said he's working towards it, but it's not cheap. But I could beat somebody over the head with it too, so it's not one of those little cheap ones like you'd go buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. This thing is not going to fall apart. Oh, well, look at that. See? Kay Roberts, you got Destin. He was out there, and I'm like, I almost brought it with me, and if I would have known he was going to be there, I would have got him to sign it. But
I could use one of them. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome, and yeah, he talks. He's been on board like submarines and all kinds of stuff, and you know, they're long form videos, but they're really good. They're really good. Shot two bullets, trying to recreate, where the two bullets hit exactly perfectly and all that stuff. So
Oh, just a reminder. Next week's episode, Jason, is acts of sacrifice.
yeah,
Good to know.
yeah.
So Jakar, that episode, Jakar attempts to rally support for his people from Sheridan and the Earth Alliance. Ivanova goes to great lengths to secure an alliance with a new race. Interesting.
Yeah,
so
that's
next
fun.
week's episode.
I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, that's next week's episode, and of course, as Cam mentioned, Top Lofty Lounge on Sunday. We'll still working on a topic for that, but we will have future topics. We've been working on some ideas, and we will hopefully be a little better in the future on what's going on, letting you know a little bit ahead of time. Also, don't forget to check out the Discord. Got stuff there, people talking, and I put some ideas and suggestions for future of the Sunday show on there, and get your feedback if you want to jump in there and find out. Yeah, that's about it. Anything last minute, Cam?
No.
That's it. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming out. We appreciate you all coming out in the chat. This is why we do the show, so that we can get, you guys can get in there just as much as us. Tell us what's going on, and we like that interaction with everybody. See you next Wednesday or on Sunday. Thanks a lot. Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.